Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Rogue Revealed, the series where I take you through everything you need to know about Rogue Company. In today's video we're going to be bringing back another map guide, today looking at the arena which dropped a few weeks ago. I spent the time to actually go through and learn this map, so I'm giving you the best information I can for this video. If you do go on to enjoy the video or learn something new, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. But for now, let's get into it. Let's start by having a look at the arena on an overview of the map. So you have your attackers spawning on the left hand side and your defenders spawning on the right hand side, with points A and B located here, with easy access routes for the defenders to get there quickly. The map itself is kind of strange. It isn't really a 3-lane map, it's more of a 2-lane map with 2 different entrances to each site. So it's kind of this weird map in that sort of sense in terms of the layout, but it plays like other maps and is very interesting to play around. Let's look at the main areas of engagement on the map so you can sort of see how this map flows. A lot of it is actually for off-site. So with A, it's for in this big area here, and B again here, although it does push a little bit more onto B site because the attackers can take B site, and when they do, you have to fall back and there's a lot more engagement happening behind it. There's a lot of angles here where you can fire across different lanes. So for example, sitting on any of these angles, you can shoot across into the different angles over here and vice versa up here. There's a lot of cross shooting that can occur here, making it really good for team shooting, making it really good for just getting cheeky angles on people. And that's kind of what you see in this map, is it's all about the angles, all about the way you hold it. The way you use smoke grenades is really good to block off certain lines of sight and help you achieve your objective, whether it's defending or attacking, with a bit more ease. I'll go over some of the more optimal attack routes and defense routes as we go on in this guide. Let's look at some main points of interest. I'm going to start with the staircases that are situated here, sort of in the cross between A and B. So the entire A area is situated above of B. There are 2 different levels as you approach into the gates of the arena. But you can't really get much advantage or height advantage from A onto B other than using these staircases. And as you can see here on either side, there is this staircase. You can sit up on there, you can look through this little gap if you want to check onto the B site. You can get a few cheeky shots here, and particularly some good equipment you can throw through there, like frag grenades or smoke grenades. There's some good angles you can get, but mostly that's your best line of sight onto B from A using some sort of height advantage, although you don't get much because of the angles that it blocks off. Then also situated on both sides of the map is this spot over here, one over here and the other one over here. This is like another raised balcony area, another access route to get to the top of A, and is a good place to shoot around, particularly on this side over on the defender side, because you can watch the back of the B site from here. You can't look onto the B site itself, but you can watch the back to see for any flanks, so it's a good position from anyone rotating back from A to have a look and just make sure that people on B are not getting swarmed from the flank. Situated just next to that is this little spot. I thought I'd just highlight it because it can be used for some cheeky outplays, and that is this balcony which you can jump on. You can only walk on the very edge of it, but if you are trying to escape someone and you can be a bit sneaky with it, potentially this could be a position for outplays. I have seen it pulled off once where somebody was able to 1v2 just because they snuck up there and the people didn't know where he went. And then the last point of interest I really want to touch on is this site just outside of B here. If you jump up on this box, you can see into the B site through the window, which you can jump through that window from both the outside and outwards from the inside, but you can also just see through the door, so you can see anybody who's trying to push in, and this is just quite a nice little spot for people to sit up. I know I've been caught out by this angle a few times, particularly so people like to plant the bomb on the very doorway here on B. You can get up there and you can see them planting with some pretty good cover for yourself, and maybe get a few cheeky kills that way. Now let's look at the main part of this guide and what's going to help you on arena, and this is going to be the layout for you on defense and attack. So on defense, I recommend a 2 zone control, 2 long range setup. Probably want to position them here, so you have your long range rogue who's sitting somewhere here on A site. Honestly, I do recommend you fall all the way back on A site. It's not that big a deal letting them get onto the site, if because of the lines of sight that you have, you can just beam them as they come through this door and you're almost funneling them through. Whereas if you hold right on this angle, then they can either nade you out, or you have to push out into an open space where they can team shoot you. So sitting back on A site is never a problem, but I'd recommend some sort of longer range rogue here, just to sit here and hold those longer angles, and have a zone control rogue, not on the upper platform, but on that staircase I mentioned. If that person can survive, they have such a good vantage point over the entire A approach that they can really control it, but they need to make sure they survive. I really recommend a trench here. Put those trophy downs, make sure it doesn't get naded out, and it's just a fantastic rogue to have in this position. Then actually moving on to B site, I recommend some sort of zone control rogue or somebody who can play some sort of trap like a Roman ballistic knife or a Saint Claymore here on this site, just so they can control the entrance onto B, and then have a longer range rogue sitting in this back alley, just watching their peak on that left hand side, watching the windows so they can't get through. They can also go up in that position that I mentioned in my points of interest. The main thing you need to know for defense here is this person here, whoever is situated on this longer angle, needs to be your main rotator. So they need to be the person who's either going to rotate up to the staircase to help this defender, who's going to rotate to this angle to help the defender on B, or who's going to loop all the way around the back to the back of A site to help the longer range rogue if they are pushing onto the site. This person just needs to be able to rotate really quickly and be really aware of what's going on so that they can hit the different angles. Going then on to the attackers and what I would recommend for them, I'm going to start with the A push. Now, I generally on attack recommend a flanker on this map. I think there's some really good flank routes you can get, and when you draw everyone to one location, you can initiate that flank really well on this map because of the different lines of sight and a lot of cover you have on the approach. My general setup for this is a longer range rogue counter-peeking the longer range rogue who's almost like defending A on this longer angle, a breacher rogue with them just for when they want to initiate that breach, a longer range rogue going up onto that staircase opposite where I said that defender should be. They again will have a really nice vantage point on anybody coming out of the A doors, but will also be able to take peeks at that person sitting on the staircase, and if they win that 1v1 you really open up either A or B. And then you have your flanker just there, potentially to push round here and get that person on the stairs, or catch anyone rotating in from B who is mispositioning. There's a few different strategies you can do when you're attacking the A site. You can either all push through the doors and just like mass shock and all control it, and that's what your breach is really there for. Or you can do the sort of opposite and shock and awe whoever is on this staircase. You just 4-man rush them, kill them because they're not going to be able to take you all down. Having some sort of Dahlia there with that, just they can res whoever goes down is really good, or a Saint, and rush that, and then actually push to B from that point. Leave whoever's A up there. You know they're going to take some time to rotate from. You just take that staircase, then you push down to B from the back of site, and that is a really good strategy to push this site and sort of fake them out from going A to B. Then let's look at the B push. So you again want your flankers probably somewhere in a similar position, probably now going to go up the A side rather than through the middle. Again, you just got to find the best routes and best angles for that. And then you want to stack your 2 longer range rogues and your breacher down here at the bottom with at least 1 or 2 poking down this longer angle, because going through this angle and then jumping through the window is actually a really good idea. If you can smoke off whoever's sitting back here and then jump through the window to take control of the site, that's generally a good play. But then you also have your breacher who can then nade onto site, just get control of that site, plant the bomb ideally in that doorway so you can then fall back and hold it from outside of the site. You don't necessarily want to be sitting on the site, because if they get some good nades in or they just rush in, it can be a bit disorientating, and so you kind of want to be positioning yourself away from the main door. Let's look now at the best rogues that I recommend for this map. I'm going to start with the attackers, and this is going to be your Lancer for sure. She is fantastic on this map because she's got that flank potential. She is the one you want to be using as the flank for this map. And then Dima for the breach as well. Dima is always going to be a solid breacher because he's the only person who can do big AoE damage. Glitch is another breacher, but he does more utility-based breaching. Dima does the AoE damage, and that's what you want for pushing the sites, really. Going on to the defense, here are your 3 zone controllers. Any of them are good. I think Anvil works really well on B. I think Vi works really well on B, and Trench I recommend for that A staircase. That is exactly where I would put him. To be honest, I don't find any of the rogues are as good as him in that one position, because he has the trophies to defend himself and the barbed wire as well to stop the approach. So he's a really good recommendation for me. And then sort of floating around good rogues at either side are Talon, just because that dart, there's a lot of angles the flankers come across, a lot of angles that you might want covered or just checked with that dart. So he's really good for that. And Ronan, just again because of her knife, just because of her general versatility. She just works really well on this map. Her weapons are all really good on this map, so she just has a lot of good play on this map particularly. I was considering putting Dallas in. He is okay on this map with the reveal to figure out which side they're going, and the longer range nature of him. However, I think I was doing it more because he has the Dr. Disrespect skin, so I chose not to. Let's go into some final tips then, and my biggest recommendation is that you're holding good angles on this map. There's a lot of good angles that you need to go through and figure out on this map, and I would definitely recommend you play around with them. Particularly on those staircases, that are some of the best vantage points in the entire map, and controlling those is really important. Something else I want to say about this map is I wouldn't really recommend trying to play any of them on retake. Some maps you can, like Favelas I think is a good one for retake. Skyfell you kind of need to play on retake because you need to stack a defense one side or the other. But for this map I think you can split the 2-2 or even a 3-1 with A focus just fine on this map. I think if you try and play on retake, both sides are quite hard to retake. A, there's too many angles that they can cover by sitting in that room. B, they don't have to sit in the room, which means they're sitting back in the midsection and there's too many angles there for you to deal with. So don't really play this on retake. Make sure you're keeping somebody on the site so that they don't get the advantage of pushing in, and make sure you're utilizing flanks. If you can try and get a flank, just so they can't rotate. The rotations are so quick on this map that you don't want them to be able to just push A and then immediately go back B. You sent all your people to A and then you're getting caught off and they're planting. Then again, you're just playing that retake and that's just not what you want to do. So, try and catch them on the angles. It's really good to funnel people in on this map. There's a lot of angles you can go surround people, so they have to push into you one way or the other and you can get some free picks off that way. But yeah, try not to play it on retake. And then my final tip for you is actually to play this map with audio really well. You need to be really keen on your audio generally within the game, but on this map you can use it a lot more. There's a lot of angles that are hard to see people through, meaning that you have to rely on your audio more so than your own eyesight. Particularly when you're sitting around here in mid, you can hear which staircase they're on if you're hovering around there, and because they can't see down on you and you can't see up to them, using your audio is really important to figure out exactly where they are. I would recommend holding the third person peek and listening for audio cues more than anything, particularly as you push through mid. There's so much cover, so many weird angles that you can get shot from, that playing your audio is important to know exactly where enemy positions are. Okay then guys, that's going to take us to the end of the video. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/RadTharGaming to see live game commentaries, guides, Q&As, tournaments and scrims. All the links you need for that are down in the description below. But for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless. And I'll catch you in the next video.